Hello everyone, today I am going to talk about the human genetic disorder. It's done by Samih Haddadin. Now let us start with the objective of this presentation. What are genes, chromosomes and DNA? Definition of a human genetic disorder. How are genetic diseases inherited? Reasons for human genetic disorder. Examples of a human genetic disorder. What are genes, chromosomes, and DNA? Genes. A gene is the basic physical and functional unit of heredity. Genes are made up of DNA. Some genes act as instruction to make molecules called proteins. Chromosomes. A thread-like structures found in the nucleus of a cell. DNA. DNA stands for deoxyribonucleic acid. It is the genetic material that makes our genes and chromosomes. We inherit DNA from our parents. It's made up of two strands twisted together into a kind of spiral called helix. These are pictures for genes, chromosomes, and DNA. First of all, the genes. It shows us how they are put in order in the DNA. Second of all, the structure of the chromosome, the chromatid and the centromere. It's made up of two chromatid. The third picture shows the structure of a very small part of a DNA molecule. It's made up of two long strands, each with a series of bases arranged along it. The bases on the two strands are held together by bonds forming cross links. For example, here we can see that the base pairs are always adenine and thymine together and cytosine and guanine together. Now let us talk about what is genetic disorder. Genetic disorder is an illness caused by the change in the DNA. Any change in the DNA makes changes in the protein produced. These mutations, which are the changes to the DNA, can be due to an error in DNA replication or due to environmental factors such as cigarette smoke. How are genetic diseases inherited? Genetic traits can be passed through families in several distinct patterns. First of all, dominant genetic disease are caused by mutation in a gene. Second of all, if a parent has a dominant genetic disease, then each of that person's children have 50% chance of inheriting the disease. This picture will show us how genetic diseases are inherited. The parents have 50% of sickle cell disease, which is called sickle cell trait. The first boy is a typical boy, normal boy. He doesn't have a blood disorder. The second boy and the girl has sickle cell trait. The final girl has sickle cell disease. Now, why human genetic disorder occur? Human genetic disorder occur because of two major points. First of all, human genetic disorder are caused by mutations in the DNA. Second of all, change in the overall structures of DNA or the changes in the number of chromosomes in each cell. For example, increasing or decreasing the number of chromosomes. Now let us talk about examples of a human genetic disorder. Down syndrome. Down syndrome is a condition which a person has an extra chromosome in each cell. Thalassemia. Thalassemia is a blood disorder passed down through families which is called inherited, in which the body makes an abnormal form of hemoglobin. Sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia is an inherited red blood cell disorder in which there aren't enough healthy red blood cells to carry oxygen throughout your body. Now I will talk more deeply about each genetic disease. First of all, Down syndrome. Down syndrome is caused by an error in cell division. This error results in an embryo with 3 copies of chromosome 21 instead of 2. This results in a cell with extra chromosome, 47 chromosome instead of 46. But I want to tell you a note about chromosome 21. Chromosome 21 is both the smallest human autosome and chromosome with 48 million nucleotide, the building material of DNA. Second of all, thalassemia. But first, let us talk about the definition of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is the protein in the red blood cells that carries oxygen. Thalassemia is a disorder in red blood cells which result in large number of red blood cells being damaged, which result in anemia. Hemoglobin contains two proteins, alpha globin and beta globin. Thalassemia occurs when there is a defect in a gene that helps control production of one of these proteins. And finally, sickle cell anemia. Normally, the flexible round blood cells move easily around the body. In sickle cell anemia, the red blood cells are shaped as a crescent moon, which result in sticking red blood cells, which can get stuck in small blood vessels, which may block the flow of the blood. Now we will take a close look at genetic diseases from pictures. First of all, picture for Down syndrome. The first two cells in the last row shows us how this cell has an extra chromosome. The second two cells shows us that there is one chromosome instead of two. This is a picture for thalassemia. On the left, we can see the normal and the regular shape of red blood cells which carry a regular amount of hemoglobin. On the right, we can see the thalassemia red blood cells. These have an irregular shape which contain an irregular amount of hemoglobin, which result in large number of red blood cells being damaged, which result in anemia. And finally, sickle cell anemia. In this picture, we can see the comparison between regular red blood cells and sickle cell red blood cells. Regular red blood cells has a round shape, but sickle cell anemia red blood cells has a crescent moon shape, which result in sticky cells which can get stuck in small blood vessels, which may block the flow of the blood. I hope this video was very helpful. Thank you.